everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to cover a project that is closer to heart. This will be in District 18 within the district of the Tampines and Pasir Ris. Why is it closer to heart? Actually, I grew up in this area. So if you can see, this is actually my report book from my primary school. Some would say that this school, the math paper is still difficult. I'm not sure whether till today it's still as difficult, but feel free to comment and we can discuss further. So today we are going to cover a project in Tampines. And I think what we love in Tampines is the convenience in terms of the food. Here in the 800 plus series, you have actually a pretty famous kway chap and prawn noodle. And actually in Tampines, if you have queue, right, means usually quite good one lah. In terms of amenities, you also have like wet market and also fruit store. So in terms of the city, it's actually quite bustling. And Tampines as a whole, right, not many areas have 3 big malls in the city center. So we started off with Tampines Mall and Century Square. Century Square actually went through a revamp. And now we have also Tampines 1 and our Tampines Hub. So in terms of the city, what you have is most of the amenities are available. However, if you require some branded goods, then you probably want to go to town in Orchard lah. So what we will cover today is Rivelle at Tampines, the Executive Condominium in the vicinity of Tampines West MRT. So what we will have is about 7 minutes walk to the MRT because you can cut through the mixed development known as Pioneer Residences and get to Tampines West MRT. So in terms of walking distance, probably about 5 to 7 minutes walk. Unlikely to sweat because you can cut through the commercial spaces. So what we will cover today is a project information, and the key is, will Rivelle Tampines be the first executive condo in Singapore to hit $2,000 per square foot? So the developer for this project is Simlian, with a plot ratio of 2.5 and a total number of units of 572. So total number of blocks is 11 blocks with a consistent of 12 to 14 stories depending on the block. And the expected vacant possession is 30th June 2030. So in terms of the site plan, the developer has done a north-south orientation. For the north-facing units, you will get some northwest and some northeast. And for the south-facing units, you will get the southeast. So they did a slight tilt in order to facilitate some of the views. And in terms of the bedroom type, it's interspersed across the blocks between the 3 to 5 bedrooms. In terms of unit mix, this is where it gets interesting. Out of the unit mix of 3 to 5 bedroom, you have about 42% of 3 bedrooms, 50% of 4 bedrooms, and 7% of 5 bedroom. So how does it compare to the Simlian project that just launched last year, Rivelle of Tampines? So Rivelle of Tampines, you have a comparison of 3 bedrooms of 65%, 4 bedrooms of 30%, and 5 bedroom of 3.6%. So what we see is Simlian is actually building bigger bedroom types, and the emphasis is actually the 4 bedroom, from 30% unit mix to 50% unit mix. And in terms of the sizes, what Rivelle at Tampines has is starting from 883 square feet compared to 840 square feet and 872 square feet in Rivelle of Tampines. So why is there a change? I think when we go back to a year back when Rivelle of Tampines launched, what happened during launch day, which sold about over 90% of the units, is this. 4 and 5 bedrooms started moving first, and then subsequently the bigger 3 bedroom. And what was left, about 10% remaining on that day, was the 840 square feet and 872 square feet, which was taken up when the second timers came in after a month later. So when they built 883 square feet, actually is fulfilling what the family requirements are. And in terms of the 4 bedroom sizes, they give you variations that can actually fit into different family requirements. So going to the floor plan analysis, this floor plan and the site plans are all pending approval. So if you want the floor plans, feel free to comment floor plans below and I'll send them to you. We can compare it with the Rivelle of Tampines, 872 square feet. So comparatively, 883 square feet in Rivelle. What we know from the show flat that we have viewed is the 2.8 meters that was given in Rivelle for the width is actually 3 meters in Rivelle. So it is important because the built-in cabinets matter and you can have more storage space without compromising your living and dining area. And for the 4 bedroom, you have the additional 9 square meter for Rivelle compared to Rivelle of Tampines, which compromises the 4 bedroom at 8 square meter. In addition, we also understand that it will be 3 meters wide for Rivelle Tampines. What is interesting is the 4 bedroom is this. For the master bedroom, they are also introducing a variation of the floor plan where it includes a flexi area in the master bedroom on top of the flexi area that is usually given in Rivelle of Tampines, which is a flexi area in the living and dining. Why it matters? Because some people prefer to have their study area into the master bedroom or even a built-in wardrobe without actually removing a bedroom. So this is important. And additionally, for the 5 bedroom, they also changed the 5th bedroom into a 9 square meter. So what the developer has done with the 9 square meter is actually giving you enough bedroom space, which is a key emphasis. And the movement towards the bigger bedroom type is curtailing to the market demand today. In terms of the pricing, this is the range of my own guesstimate. I would think that the developer probably start from 1,007 onwards. But I think the key is to look at it from the 1,008 to 1,009 per square foot on average. And I feel that some of the units will hit 2,000, and we'll explain that and explain why is that so later. So if you are looking to buy Rivelle Tampines, consider doing your calculation based on 1,009 per square foot, which also translates to the 3 bedroom about 1.67 million onwards, 4 bedroom from 1.98 or 2 million onwards, and the 5 bedroom roughly from 2.6 million onwards. So with this pricing, it is actually very difficult for first-timers. So today, as a first-timer, if both of you are 35 years old, earning the income ceiling of 16,000, which is 8,000 per person, what it translates to is almost 1 million in loan at 30 years loan tenure. So why is it difficult? Because at 1.5 million, which is 1,700 per square foot onwards, your loan amount of 1,005,000, buyer's stamp duty of 44,600, and legal fees of 3,000, that translates to an outlay of 542,600, of which 5% of the purchase price needs to be cash, which translates to 75,000 in cash. So, as a young couple today, coming out $500,000 to buy an executive condo, it is actually very difficult, especially for those that are starting out, building up their CPF and cash savings. Comparatively, for a second timer, you have the option of a deferred bridging loan. What is a deferred bridging loan? It is the ability to draw an additional loan because you have a current existing property. So for some banks, it differs. You can either use 85% or 90% of your current indicative valuation, less of the outstanding loan, less of miscellaneous fees such as HDB option money, resale levy or agent's commission. You will get the maximum deferred bridging amount. So we take the example of a couple that can afford 1 million of loan based on their income and a deferred bridging loan of, for example, 500,000. With the same amount of outlay, you have the option of going for a 4-bedder instead of a 3-bedder. So this makes it easier for second-timers to enter. Of course, for second-timer, there is a quota. For Rivelle, which has 572 units, second-timer quota will apply at 30%, which means at the 171st second-timer who purchases a unit at Rivelle, the remaining of the second-timers will need to come back a month later. So there is still the opportunity for first-timers out there. So will Rivelle hit $2,000 per square foot? If we look at the ECs in Tampines, for example, Arc at Tampines, this is not near Tampines MRT. This is about 9 minutes drive. So for Arc at Tampines, this project actually TOP'd in 2014. Tenure started from 2011. So this one is actually 84 years remaining. in the past year, the average transaction for 3-bedroom is 1,374. So if we bring it 1,374 back to a 99-year lease, this will be approximately 1,619. This is actually further from MRT. So at 1,006, you need to include the additional renovation cost because you are buying to an older condo, approximately $100 per square foot. So that will be about 1,007 per square foot. And if you look at the quantum, the 3-bedrooms are already selling at 1.6 for the bigger size ones and 1.5 for the 1,066 square feet, which is comparable to some of the 3-bedroom layout in Rivelle, Tampines. And if we go to the next project, that is actually nearer to MRT. This is about 10 minutes walk to Tampines West MRT. So City Life at Tampines, TOP in 2016. Tenant started from 2012, which means that the remaining lease is about 85 years. So for the 3-bedroom for the past year transaction on average of 1,572. So if we bring back the 1,572 to 99 years, it will be approximately 1,830. For an older condo, likewise, if you add back another $100 per square foot for renovation, it will be about 1,009. And in terms of quantum, the prices are already at 2 million. So if you are a resale buyer today or an upgrader from HDB, you have the option of looking at Rivelle at Tampines or look at City Life. Granted, City Life at Tampines has a bigger size for the 3-bedroom. But in terms of the entry price of per square foot and quantum, they are comparable to Rivelle at Tampines. Then we look at what are the approximations that we can have. So the latest one that we have seen is Parktown Residences and Rivelle of Tampines. Parktown Residence is an integrated project and Rivelle of Tampines is the latest executive condominium in Tampines North. Both these projects actually launched in similar period last year. So if we compare both these projects, Parktown Residences land bid was 885. It is actually lower than the rest of the new launch condominiums in the same time period because for developments such as these, they do a bit of national service, such as building the bus stops or building the community center. And Rivelle of Tampines, whose land bid was 721. So in terms of the difference, it's actually about 160-ish per square foot per plot ratio. However, Parktown sold at an average of 2,369 and Rivelle of Tampines sold at an average of 1,768, which amounts to $601 difference in terms of per square foot. So if we compare, we have something similar in Pinery Residences and Rivelle at Tampines. So for Pinery Residences, the land bid was 1,004 per square foot per plot ratio. And we compare with the Parktown Residence, whose per plot ratio was 885 and sold at 2,369. Can I assume that this one will sell $120 more at about 2,005 per square foot? And for Rivelle at Tampines, selling at 1,008 to 2,000 per square foot. This will amount to about a difference of $500. So even if Rivelle Tampines hits 2,000 per square foot, it will still be a price gap between Pinery Residences and Rivelle at Tampines. Then, is it still a good buy at $2,000 per square foot? If we look at it, actually there is a URA master plan that plans to rejuvenate Tampines as a town center. So what we see here, it plans to build a new mixed-use development which will have homes and commercial spaces and an integrated transport hub in the Tampines bus interchange and MRT station. So there will be more things coming up in Tampines. Additionally, if we rewind time back to 20 years ago, where Tampines was only supported by the East-West line, then you have the downtown line, which creates 3 MRT stations in Tampines. There is infrastructure support because now you have the Tampines West MRT, Tampines MRT, and also the Tampines East MRT. And Rivelle Tampines what you have is good schools around the area, such as St. Hilda's Primary School, which is within 1 km, Red Swastika, which is close to Hart, between 1 to 2 km, as well as Poi Ching. So there are good schools in the area. There is also Bedok Reservoir in the area. And now you have a mixed-use development across the road. So in terms of convenience of Rivelle Tampines, it has what it requires. And in Tampines, there's already 3 major coffee shops that is in the area. And even at TOP, unlike Tampines North, your MRT is already up and running today. What if you miss this? Let's look at the future EC lands that are coming up. So what we have in the future EC land plot are as follows. Rivelle bought in at 768. Senja Close, Woodlands Drive, all bought it above. Whether it will sell lower, we wouldn't know. But what it means is there's a trending of the EC land prices upwards. So will developer also start seeing the trend of Rivelle if it hits 2,000 per square foot and is accepted on launch day? Will the developer price it at 2,000 in future? And also, a point to take note, especially for the Easties, East Side, West Side, because EC requires 15 months. So, the next few land bids are all in the north, like Mitonia Close, Canberra Drive, and Sembawang Drive. What it translates is, the next 2 years will not have any other executive condo that are launching. So if you miss Rivelle, you have the option of going to Coastal Cabana or going to the north. Who should consider Rivelle? For anyone that actually is within the income ceiling of 16,000 at this current moment and able to afford the down payment, you should consider Rivelle because buying an EC is a no-brainer. Especially when there is a comparative plot that is also launching in the same period of time, you are aware of the entry price of both, and if the sizable gap of $500, which is 20% of per square foot pricing, this is a safer buy. And of course, if you are looking at how the market is trending and even Simland is trending, the bigger bedroom types are the more popular ones. So if you are able to afford and it's comfortable, do consider the bigger 4 bedrooms and 5 bedrooms. Period will be from 6 March onwards. Feel free to DM me if you want to go for a showflat appointment. And I want to leave you with this. This was an article published in September 2019. And it quoted our former National Development Minister, Minister Koh Boon Wan. He said that in Parliament, buying an EC is like offering a Lexus at the price of a Corolla. Some of you may not be a car enthusiast. So what it means is you are buying it at a lower price, but selling it at a higher price. And in this case, we can see it clearly when you are looking at Rivelle at Tampines, even at $2,000 per square foot. The next comparative one will start from 2004-2005, 3 minutes across the road. And this is similar, and we have seen it in Aura of Tampines versus Parktown Residences. And Parktown is also selling pretty well. So do consider, and if you like my content, do like, share, and subscribe. Bye!